hike was on the AT in 1999, which was motivated by a documentary I saw on my TV sitting in Kansas City. Yeah, that really did happen. It was around 3 o'clock in the morning. I used to, wait tables in Kansas City, and I came home from work one night and I was just flipping through the channels, and, there was an AT documentary. And I thought, I'd heard about that when I was in college, and I always thought about doing that. And, I think I'm going to go do that. And so I did. It was a life-changing experience. It's a long time ago. It's over 20 years ago. But, that decision has impacted my life greatly. Although the general public thinks that wild changed hiking, a lot of my friends, and I who have been around the hiking environment for a while, it's not so much wild as it was the explosion of social media. So now anybody can Google anything and find anything about anything hiking related, get, 20,000 different answers to the same question. And that is what really has impacted hiking. Now, that said, I really liked Wild. I thought the movie was fantastic. I thought that they captured the voices in the head part really well. The movies and blogs and newspaper articles and everything about the trail it gets the word out that the Pacific Crest Trail exists, or the Continental Divide, or the Appalachian Trail, or the Arizona Trail, or New Zealand Trail, whatever it is. It gets the word out that it exists. In my mind, I think that now that people know that, this trail exists, perhaps they will vote for protecting the environment. And that's a good thing. First of all, I'm so glad you called it a sport, because we are athletes. We don't participate in a sport that has winners and losers, but it is a sport. Male dominated, I don't know. I guess society says, that women should do A, B, and C. Men should do A, B, and C. And if you veer from that at all, you're going to get questions from your family and your friends. If, is this really what you want to do? Is this the smart thing to do? Should you be doing this? I hate the should you be. You should do this, or you should not do this. Who are you to tell me what I should and shouldn't do? If I want to do this, then I'm going to do this. I can't answer the question, has being a female in this sport changed or impacted my experience at all, because I don't have an alternative view. I'm one of 5 girls. My mother raised 5 daughters, fiercely independent. We were raised to know that we can do whatever we wanted to do in the world. I didn't even though, hiking, I guess, clearly there's more men than there are women, so clearly it's male dominated, but it never actually really crossed my mind that this was something I couldn't do because I was a woman. It just didn't cross my mind. I suppose I'm lucky in that respect, that I don't have any of those, pre-existing thoughts where I couldn't do something. I just have always thought that, once I put my mind to something, I can do it. I've been invited to a lot of panels, women's views on hiking, or female aspects on hiking. I've always declined those invitations, because I don't think that there is a women's point of view on hiking. We are all dusty. We are all dirty. We all need to hitch into town. We all need water. We all don't want to be picked up by a car that is sketchy. We all want safety. It doesn't matter if you're a woman or a man. I don't know. I guess, from my first thru hike until now, the world has changed from 1999 until 2021. A lot has changed. But, it's still hiking, good people, good friends. Everybody looks out for one another. Well, um, you know, people that are on trail understand it. It's hard to explain to people who have not been on trail. One year when I was at the restaurant where I worked, I was explaining hiking to a new friend who became a lifelong friend of mine. Her name was Heidi, or her name is Heidi. And she said, "Hey, Jackie, hang on. So you're talking about this hiking thing you're going to go do, and I don't understand. What you're saying is you can't wait to go hiking with people who you haven't met yet. I don't understand that. And I thought, well, you know, that is exactly what I'm looking forward to doing. And no, I can't explain it to you. You know, there's just something about hiking and being with, people. I hate the word tramily. I would prefer to call it, your hiking group or your hiking friends. I don't know why that word bothers me, but it does. Your hiking friends, the people that you meet, the people that have, common interests in you, whether they are I know one of my great hiking friends is a NASA doctor. I'm a restaurant server with an MBA. I have friends who are pizza delivery people, teachers, all walks of life, insurance salesmen, everything. But when you're on the trail, it doesn't matter. All that matters is that, hey, where's the next water? Did you find out anything about the resupply up ahead? That's all that matters. It doesn't matter what you do. Yeah, I got injured and I went back home. And you quoted this in your question to me. I spent the winter haunted by the Pacific Crest Trail. I really was haunted because all of a sudden, as soon as I was injured, I had to leave my trail group. My friend Noid stayed with me for half a day. We'd hiked north of, what was the road? Right before Belden. I can't remember the name of the road. Quincy LaPorte Road. All of a sudden, in the middle of the day, I couldn't lift my right leg at all. And so Noid was watching me and she was noticing it, and I really didn't notice it. And she's like, hey, what's wrong with you? And finally, we stopped for the night, and I got up in the morning and I couldn't walk. And so we turned around and walked back. And I went home, and she continued on and met up with our friends that had left when she stayed with me when I was injured. And, all of a sudden, everything that I knew was gone, and I'm home. And I had several months of physical therapy in order to get, strong, actually, in order to be able to walk upright again. Meanwhile, my trail friends continued north, and this was in 2001. And we all know what happened in September of 2001. There they are in Washington when 9/11 happened. And they're in the middle of the woods. This is pre-cell phone, pre-Spot, Garmin InReach. They didn't know what was going on. All of a sudden they show up into town and everybody tells them the world has changed. What you knew as your world is taken away from you. It was taken away from me when I went home for an injury, and then for my friends that remained on the trail, once they showed up in town after 9/11, what they knew from the world had changed while they were on trail. But what haunted me was that I thought I had failed because I was injured and I had to go home. And there's a really neat book by Karen Berger on the Pacific Crest Trail. And in there, she has a quote, something like, there's a difference between quitting the trail and getting off the trail. Quitting is, you know what? I just don't want to do this anymore. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with deciding, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. That's fine. That's completely respectable. But quitting is different from getting off. Getting off the trail is, I really would rather be on the trail, but for whatever reason, I can't stay on trail. Whether it's injury, or I ran out of money, or my family or friends need me at home to help them with whatever, A, B, or C. So in my mind, being that I'm a goal-oriented person for my entire life, it really helped me to know that I didn't quit, that I had to get off the trail. I did my physical therapy, and I ate right, and I went back to Campo. That was 2001. I went back to Campo in 2002, and oh my gosh, I had the best hike. So, just that I'm a goal-oriented person, that's why not being able to complete that hike haunted me. Oh my gosh, I tell you what. My grandmother, my mother's mom, she went to college in the 1920s at Kansas State University. That was a time when women didn't go to college. Well, women went to college if they had the money so they could find husbands. Well, my grandmother was having none of that. she was going to college to get an education. Every time I would quit to go on a hike, she'd call up my mom, her daughter, and say, Jacqueline really shouldn't quit her job because, she might not get a job back, and, she needs to plan for her future. And my grandmother was the kind of person that would save a tablespoon of peas if people didn't eat them at dinner, because she lived through the Depression. And, that's just her mindset. And so, yeah, your family does think you're crazy. And I think they think you're crazy because this is the unknown. You're doing something that they are absolutely not familiar with. That's why they ask if you're taking a gun. That's why they ask, well, where are you going to shower? Where are you going to go to the bathroom? Where are you going to sleep? We've thought through all this. And that's why we're deciding to do this hike. They haven't had the chance to think through this. So yeah, they think you're crazy because this is not normal. But I tell you what, you will forever be the person when you're introduced to somebody. Oh, this is my friend Shannon. Yeah, she hiked the Pacific Crest Trail. Oh, this is my friend Shannon. She did, this hike or that hike or whatever. It doesn't matter if you finish the whole hike, if you do 1 day or 2 days or 2 months. Yeah, this is my friend Shannon. That's what she did. And that's how you're going to be defined for the rest of your life. They think you're crazy now, but they also admire you. So what you have to do is convince them, hey, you know what? This is important to me. And because it's important to me, I need your support. And here's how I know I'm being safe. Here are the things that I've planned out. I've thought about all of this. And it's a little bit different from what, most people in life want to do. But this is what I want to do. And I'd like your support. Here's something interesting. On my first AT hike, which was in 1999, that was my first long hike, last century, I like to say that. There was one site for journals. It was called Trail Journals. And this is before blogs. This is before the internet really exploded. I had just come across it and I thought, I have friends and family who do want to hear from me. And it might be easier if I just keep up on this online journal. They can log on and see what's happening. We actually had transcribers back then. It wasn't where you had a phone where you could type in your journal. You had to hand write it, mail it to somebody. My uncle would print out my journals and take them over to my grandmother to her assisted living area. Then once a week, my grandmother and everybody that lived in the assisted living area would get together and my grandmother would read my journals. And my grandma became a celebrity in her assisted living area because her granddaughter was hiking the Appalachian Trail. Well, Yogi's Pacific Crest Trail Handbook, Continental Divide Trail Handbook, Colorado Trail Handbook, my new book, Hold for Hiker, which is a resupply and food book. They're always evolving, always. There's kind of been a pause on new editions due to COVID because every time I call someplace, they'll say, oh, things have changed to this. And then the next time I call, they've changed back. And then they've changed again. And they've changed back. So I haven't done a new edition for a little while, but there are exciting things to come. You just wait. Well, Shannon, I think I addressed all your questions. I hope so anyway. I hope that maybe this question and answer helped some other people get out there on the trail because, like I said before, a lot of people helped me earlier in my hiking career. I'm constantly learning. I learn every day from people that come into TCO. Teach me new things. You can always learn from somebody else. I hope this was helpful for somebody. I had a really, really good time doing it. Like I said, I don't do interviews so much anymore. And it was really nice of you to ask me to be part of your hiking experience. Thank you. I look forward to seeing you in a couple months when you get here to Kennedy Meadows.